everyone. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching this beautiful interview with a beautiful divine goddess, Abigail. And I would like to introduce Abigail. Abigail opens portals where women reconnect to their living muse, a force that is wild, sensitive, and deeply wise. She invites us into a journey where boldness is not something we push through, it's something we anchor in our nervous system at peace, where transgression becomes part of life and play returns to a sacred ritual, and where woman stops seeking permission outside of herself to become her own source of divine authorization. Thank you so much, Abigail. I'm getting chills all over when I read this
Thank
about
you.
you, and you really embody this. So
Mm.
thank you so much for being here. How do you
Thank you for
feel
having me.
when you hear this about you?
Mm. 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 I feel anchored in my being. It feels right. It doesn't feel over the top. It feels like yes, yeah, yeah. That was the whole life that initiated me to own that. Yeah, that essence. Mm.
Yeah, thank you. I would love to know, how did you discover your inner muse? Was there one specific moment or was it more like a journey?
Thank you for this question. Mm. I, it was definitely accumulation of experiences. But eventually, I think around COVID, I participated to a very powerful the path of love. And it's a meditation retreat, and it's more than that. There is a lot of exposure work, there is a lot of shadow work. And I've done a lot of different form of therapy before that, but when you're in front of 60 other people, including, well, leaders and facilitators, but still, it's for me, what was always my trauma is that I wanted to hide. I wanted to hide when I was feeling ashamed, when I was feeling fragile and vulnerable. So that broke me out of my shell. And fast forward to the very last day of the retreat, that was a celebration of life. And I found myself, I have tears, dancing in the middle of the city, so fucking wild and energetic, like taking the leaders with me. And it was a dance, but it was a reclamation moment. And I was growling as a wild animal. And they were like, whoa. And as you probably know, I had a story with anorexia, which is a very hard and insidious disease to come out of and to feel empowered again and even just feeling safe in your. So to feel so much life running through me at the end of like 1 week of just like shedding and shedding, yeah, this is when I reconnected with that inner muse. And then that truth came back as an obvious thing through my bodies. I am meant to dance. I am meant to dance in a way. And because that was also part of the trauma, like being a dancer and following, just the common design of you go to a class, especially ballet, especially modern jazz, where expectations are very high. And when you don't quite fit for different reasons, then you're left behind. But you have 15 years of dance, you have 15 years of something that you have cultivated good enough. So I gave it up. I thought I was not good enough. So after more than 10 years of interruption, having dance, like coming back as such a force of life. I'm like, I can't deny it. This is it. I am meant to dance.
Wow, this is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing this. So you discovered your power while dancing again.
Yeah,
Dance you.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
Mhm. And I know you dance too, so you know the power of the transformation that happens through authentic dance.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
I also loved like when we were last year dancing in Ubud and you did the workshop at my retreat. It was so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for your medicine.
More to come.
Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit more about your medicine and what you do?
Mm. Sharing about my medicine and what I do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Well, as I said, it started the my journey in becoming, I would say, a coach or a guide. I've never really found myself fitting, but mostly because I don't really just ask question and act through the mind. I've always find for me that it's through stillness and then the movement that wants to emerge from the stillness that things are happening. And then, using path work, using different forms of meditation and therapy together, is more truths that emerge, but not from like trying to force to reconnect to a memory of the past and doing, like a very mindset approach. So it's by trying on myself first during that time and then a little bit before, as I say, yeah, merging them, the still meditation and then the dynamic movement sometimes when I would feel that I was restless or I had just let go of some rage. And yeah, the discovery during that very time, like in 2019, of the Osho dynamic meditation, that was really a revelation because I am I'm very much one of those person who needs movement to be able to actually achieve, even though there is nothing to achieve, but at least to feel at peace and at calm and being able to tap into that will reveal more. So it's very much, yeah, my approach. I like to use movement to somehow exhaust the ego and the rational mind that want to have the answers right away. Sometimes, especially actually for the people who have done a lot of therapy and inner work, they think they know, but they're so fixated in the story that they can't quite nail and feel what is actually underneath wanting to be felt. Mm. So yeah, the work is a blend of actually energy work and through the meditative framework and using sometimes different forms of movement. And what it looks like online can look like can but it's sometimes also very very tantric. You know, it's the reconnection to the inner feminine and the inner masculine, and yeah, reconnecting through the different senses and signals of the body, and from that to just let life force guiding us, emotions and sensations that will arise. Mm.
I love this.
Um,
Thank you.
It it's very intuitive actually at the end of the day. Although my own practice and my own embodiment brings a lot of substance. So I know what I am doing and I'm able to like feel into the person, especially on one-on-one. And from that, I tune in into what is the most needed for that person at that moment. And yeah, it's always very accurate.
Yeah, wow, thank you so much. Yeah, I often say like a woman who dances is closer to connected to God than a man who meditates. Like
Mm.
it really opens, right, this portal to the
Yeah.
divine.
Mm. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I wrote down some questions I would love to ask you. So, what does it truly mean to live in a relationship with your muse, and how does that change the way a woman creates love and leads?
Mm. Big question. Um, when, as women, we reconnect to our muse, the part of us that is mm, connected to the enthusiasm, to the impulse of life that goes through us. So we are, in a way, yes, connected to source or to the divine, whatever we want to call it, and we act based on that. So there is a deep um, as with our own intuition, but we're not just listening to the intuition, we are acting on it because the muse has different expression, depending on all of us women, and it's we need her. She's the one that moves people, and for that she needs to be seen. She needs to share her medicine. And as you brilliantly said just before, dance is so connected to God. For me, this is the expression of Shakti. Mm. We need to feel Shakti. We need to be in movement in the way that feels right for us. But the muse carries some elements and some qualities that for me are like the lightheartedness, the connection to the play, the sacred play, and to the enthusiasm and the joy. And eventually you see relationship. This is what men adore about us when we're bringing. So eventually, it's kind of almost the same thing, on just on a macro perspective. We are the muse, and the world is our partner, just wanting us to like take the world and do our thing, so they means the people, means the world, can just enjoy and receive that energy and that inspiration from us.
Oh, I love this. Thank you. Amazing. And why are so many women still afraid to be bold and visible and sensual?
Yeah.
And how can we,
Because,
yeah, how can we find safety for them?
yeah, thank you. Um, yeah, it almost touched to my personal story, as I said, the fact of like shrinking and wanting to become visible because I was so afraid of being seen, as a curvy woman, as a desirable woman. And I was afraid I was not safe within myself to actually be able to own my brilliance and my beauty, and the fact that I was desirable. And there is very much of that for many women, different degrees, different expression of it. But there is a deep fear of being seen in our grandeur, being seen in our fire, in our like letting the desire of life running through us, because we are awakening desires in others, and especially men, and we have to be okay with that. Mm. And especially on one-on-one, where we are meeting the inner child, we are meeting the part of us that have been let down, that have been humiliated and shamed, and we take care of them before going out in the world. Just like the evolution of a child that needs a proper combination of different things to feel safe enough to go out into the world. Mm.
Wow. And what helped you to really feel safe in your body? Like, do you have some tools?
Mm. I would say the very first one is to take regularly, ideally every day, time to be with ourselves, to check in, mm, to um, um, in the act of closing the eyes, the attention. So when we do that, and that can help, especially for the one who are easily distracted or have a really hard time connecting with themselves, closing the eyes, contacting your skin and your body, and maybe you won't have the answers. It's very likely that actually the one who are not used to this practice won't be able to see or to feel that clearly what is going on. Bearing with themselves, being patient enough to stay 15, 20, 30 minutes, to use certain music with no lyrics or like music that can enhance the state of meditation, to be able to stay connected with yourself and to let your body speak. Or you feel frozen. You feel that, oh, your body is tightening itself and cold is running through you. This is a message. Mm. And then obviously that can be a message that is very different depending on the woman. But l- listening to the cues of the body, mm, before trying to fish for the emotions. Oh, but I don't feel joy or I don't feel sadness. There is a neutrality. Feel, you know, else. Or you feel warm, or you feel a constriction in your throat, or you feel a tightening in your cervicals, in the back of your mind. And obviously it's very helpful to work with a different form of like body therapies that can decode the signals of the body, because we are well versed enough about the body signals to be what is present for the women um, in the women's life at the moment. We can then, like a surgeon, try to find and to nail what is there. And then together, by being so attuned to what is present without going too much into the story of the past or the story of what is going on, no, what is present right here, right now. And a typical thing for a lot of women who may feel unsafe in their body, and there is a range, there is no one truth to that. But um, in therapy, we look at the range and sometimes at the extreme. So there can be a woman who, in the constitution, has a lot of weight as a way to protect herself from put on weight. She may be very active in the world. She has a lot of appetite. She does a lot of things. And her hyperactivity protects her from actually listening to what is really going on. And we can also have a woman who is overweight and pretty passive and maybe a little bit lazy, very, very chill, and don't want to do much, so she doesn't have much feedback from the world, so she just stays in her comfort zone. They are, again, different archetype. There is no one way. But that's many women that I've worked with, the two examples that I give. And then, for instance, we have very skinny women. That was very much me for many years, where we stay very, very thin. We don't take too much input from the world. So there is a fragility. There is a nervous system that is also not really able to deal with too many things, with too much information. So the tendency in the nervous system for women like that is to numb, is to disconnect because it's too much, which is also reflected in the constitution of her own body. So there is a typical numbness that can happen, or sometimes even a freeze, where it's for instance, if there is real threat and real danger, if women feel that they're in dangers, for instance, in a context where to take something from her, she may just, like shut down. And we come back to the question, and you ask me how we can feel safe. When we regularly take this time to connect to what is present within us, we can potentially reconnect to this very moment that shaped our own design and that shape our way the world, and that may also have shaped even the way that we look. Mhm. So it's an extremely precious, delicate, sensitive work, but that is so full of gold when we really put the attention, the time, and the love in that work requires, because it requires a lot. Like it's the psyche, the subconscious, the subconscious mind will work so much that very likely, especially when we start, we will be exhausted. Because it's the same way that dance time lapse, and that's why dance is very, very powerful when we work the same. That's why at 34 years old, you can reconnect to the trauma that happened when you were 5. So ants have goosebumps in my whole body. The tenderness of this work and the fact that this is exhausting, yes, because we go so far. So imagine it's like the whole luggage that we are bringing with us, and potentially also the for another episode. So it's yeah, it's a lot that is happening. Mm,
Mhm.
mm.
Wow.
And so seeking support.
Yeah. But this is very powerful to really check in the
Mm,
present moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I have one more question,
mm, yeah.
because otherwise we're running out of time. Um, or actually two more. How do we know we are performing freedom and boldness from being it as part of our natural way of being?
Mm, yeah. At the era of social media, I found this question very, very relevant. Mm. Mm. There is an ease in the woman who is just unapologetic herself, that to feel, as for instance, other women are observing either through their screen, either when they are in the presence of another facilitator. There is the nervous system that will plug into the other facilitator nervous system, and when the facilitator, the guide, the teacher is another self, so it comes from a place that is actually regulated and calm and spacious. So that's not much, maybe, and I will go into that after, but the first thing that happened is, the resonance through the nervous system, through our being, that will feel at ease.
Mhm.
That will, yeah. Mm. And
And
then yes,
yeah, sorry.
I
And
just wanted to add a
yeah,
little things.
yeah, okay, Ed,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
In the cues that we can feel, and notice as the observer, for instance, as the student observing the teacher, there is the body language, there is the walk. Is the person listening to herself when she's talking, or is she really trying to be in connection? Is she really trying to convey the message? not just because the message feels good or just because we're using words that are trendy at the moment. And does she fucking know what she's talking about? You know, yeah. So I've given the first cue, which is more something that we can't really see, but we can feel, and the other one that we can see. Mm.
Yeah. And that's why, like, you're really like, you embody the muse. Like, I see your Instagram and like it's amazing. Like, I feel like so many women can really learn from you because you really embody it.
Mm.
And it will also help, yeah, it will help humanity heal, right? And more women, I feel also we heal the masculine by being in in our essence and embody the
Yeah.
muse.
Very much so, and especially during the era that we are in with AI on top of that, where we have so much information available, right? Being so clever, not that it's not needed. I think it's very actually sexy to be smart, but it's not just about it. We need to feel the authenticity and the uniqueness in people because this is also how we choose our peeps. This is how we choose our partners. Like, I want you to be authentic, otherwise I'm falling. Um, and same for our teachers, same for our friends. And so I'm very much a fierce defender of, yes, being our authentic self. Mm.
Yeah, amazing. So if you could offer one permission to every woman listening here right now, what would it be?
Mm. To be really at peace and even in love with their paradox. They don't need to be one thing or the other. They can be things that seem to be contradictory, especially for the binary mind, especially for the society. But this is the power of the muse in owning the paradox, in letting herself um, uh, contradiction or apparent contradiction coexist at the same time. This gives her range and nuances and depths, and then she can be such a wide range. She has an ability to be this and that, and this is powerful, and this is quite a shock for instance, what we have been taught to be one thing, especially, for instance, if you work on social media, you have to be clear, you have to be saying the same thing over and over again. And I would say, well, no, we have a mission that goes above that, that is much more grounded, because I feel that this is how can really tap into its power, when it can embody such a wide range, then in that range there is so much to play with. Mm, mm.
I love it. Abby, thank you so much.
Okay.
I would love to ask you another question because it's not only the dance, your passion, you also DJ. So how
Yes.
did you find that and how do you combine it?
Mm. Well, dance can happen without music, but with music it becomes really something else. So my two lovers have always been dance and music since I'm a little kid. So this is what actually just, yeah, brought me to wanting to learn to DJ. I'm like, oh yes, why not? I had no idea that um I would actually end up DJing in different, yeah, places in Bali, in legit places in Bali, and then abroad from time. Yeah, it's just been a very intuitive call and decision that happened to be now very much integrated, because what I'm doing since only a couple of weeks is that for a very beautiful exclusive event here in Bali, I'm opening with a dance. So I am but a dance that is very interactive with the audience. So it's powerful dance that really includes the audience, where I'm also warming up the field and bringing attention, to the present moment. And I am after offering a DJ set. And all of that goes into the same story. So depending on the flavor of the event and the desire of the people who a storyline, right? So the dance is plugged into the music choice, and same for the archetype that I embody and the outfits. So it's a beautiful curated event where I am now merging the two, and I'm taking a lot of pleasure, and I'm bringing that to Europe.
Ah, amazing. Excited.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I
Yes.
saw you with the red hair. You looked like amazing. And I'm just wondering, like, I'm sure there are women out there who see this and who'd like also to do it, right? So what can you
Mhm.
recommend them? How do they also become like this and do it?
Wow. It's a big question because, to be honest, I feel that I am 34 and that it took me 34 to be able to propose that. But it's about who you are when you're offering that. And we come back to one of the previous questions. How do we know that someone is performing from someone is actually embodying what you see, and what you may be attracted to? Well, for me, I tried sometimes to perform, but it would just, come back to me in terrible ways. And I'm grateful for my spirit. It kind of always called me out when I think that I didn't have the capacity for. So yeah, it's maybe not a glamorous or expected answer, but I would say again, come back to be with yourself, checking, do the very foundational work to be able to be so connected to your heart, to your body, to your spirit, and then move from there. Then takes the action in the real you learn. I had to learn DJing, and I'm definitely not the best DJ, and this is not why people are actually booking me, but I keep on learning, on the side. Obviously, the dance, I have a more extensive background, so this is, like much more easeful for me, but yeah, do both work at the same time. Like do the work in whatever way that feels right for you to connect to the body, to your heart, to your spirit. Listen, because they may have different desire. The spirit, especially if you have a visionary mind, may want to take you there. But you feel that your body is not there because you were recovering from breakup, because you were at the edge of burning out. Listen to that. Don't try to go too fast because it will backlash. So that requires a lot of humility, a lot of listening, and yeah, then posing the actions that feels right according to what you know from, again, what your being is telling you. Mm.
Mhm. Thank you. And then
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, is there a book which changed your life or helped you
Mm.
to discover your inner muse?
Oh, no.
No.
There are books that have been extremely helpful
Hmm.
and necessary in my evolution. So I can eventually share them. But my inner muse, no, it was very much my lived experience.
Okay, lived
Mm.
experience. Okay. And for in general, which book changed your life? Which, like, if every woman should read this book, like, if there would be one book.
Hmm. So I would answer beyond the lens of the feminine and beyond the lens of for women, because I think every This is one of Joe Dispenza. It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And this is one that requires you to do the practice because the book by itself may help you with breaking through, but again, breaking through is not enough. Then we need to put the action, right? For your being to break some patterns, cultivate new ones. This one has been fundamental because this is the one that made me move to Bali
Mhm.
and choose Bali as my home.
Thank you so
So,
much for sharing this. I love to ask this question because I feel like right books really help us, like, and that you shared.
sure.
Yeah. And then is
Yeah.
there a song in the morning you put on which really gives you this connection? Like, do you have a favorite song you put on?
I don't have favorite song because I do have too many. So what I do, especially because and I curate a lot of different events, and so I do have different playlists that are specific. Some that are gonna be for grief and sadness and release. Some are gonna be for joy. Some are gonna be to have my kundalini circulating, and just because I want my yeah, my whole life. So depending also on what I need and what I want to tap into, I choose different playlists. But in terms of flavor of the music that really do work like wonder for me, usually they are very shamanic song. They are very shamanic, organic songs that do not have much beat, contrary to like the songs that we use when we DJ. And they allow me to connect to the medicine women inside of me. Sometimes they have animal sounds, and I feel that I am on a psychedelic trip. I'm high on my own supply, and I'm like, ooh, it feels so expensive. Happy to share some with you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, like, if like whoever watched this right now, right, and
Yeah,
wants to listen to your music, where can we find, like, are you in Spotify? Where is
to
like,
share one of my favorite playlists.
okay,
That's my gift.
amazing. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
my pleasure.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Abby. Thank you so much for your
Mm.
time, for sharing your wisdom. That's really always come through. Like, it's so powerful and healing what you do.
Mm.
And yeah, you're gonna help so many women to really embrace their muse because you really embody it. And yeah, you
Mm.
said you came from anorexia, right? And now you are like this. So this is such a huge transformation. I'm so proud of you. This is amazing. And you can
It's quite.
inspire so many other women. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pina. That means a lot. Thank you for having me, for trusting me, for taking the time, for being so professional. Mm.
Yeah.